Meet eminent master of wine, Tim Atkin.
He's an award-winning critic who runs his own wine school.
He believes beer belongs in the bar, not on the table.
And tonight, he's handpicked 3 wines to pit against Alistair's traditionally brewed British beers.
I think wine is a better match for most cuisines because it's a more varied drink and it also has a greater sense of place.
The prejudices against beer, generally they're quite simple. There's an awful lot of snob value.
That doesn't mean that I don't like beer. I do like beer, but 99% of the time, for me at least, I'd actually be reaching for a glass of wine. I think most of the great cuisines of the world have grown up alongside wine.
The great thing about beer is it's actually far more complex than wine. Beer is made from 4 or 5 different ingredients. The complexity you get is far greater than a drink that is just made from 1 grape.
Enough whining, let battle commence.
May the best man, drink, win.
Ding, ding, round 1, oysters.
OK, so the first one I brought is actually a champagne. This is a classic match, really, to go with oysters, which is champagne. So here we go.
So classic, and certainly one I've had a very good time on previously.
You can see why it's a classic match, because the two things not only complement each other, but they kind of embellish each other. They enhance each other, in my opinion.
It's fair to say I would do it again and again and again.
Stepping up to the plate to challenge champagne is the Black London Porter.
But what our fine diners might not know is that champagne is the new kid on the block when it comes to oysters.
Porter and oysters, it's a classic combination, an old classic combination, whereas I think champagne and oysters might be a very modern, kind of social kind of combination. Oysters and porter were staple diet of Londoners. The porter beer of London was the beer that was everybody's nourishment. It was safer than the water, it was more nutritious than any other drink. It was freely available, as were oysters. Why is this combination going to be good? The porter beer has a very, very minerally, roasty, ashy nuttiness to it, and it'll work very well with the brininess of the oyster and the fleshiness of the oyster.
It's nice. I was a bit apprehensive, actually, but it's a surprisingly nice combination. And it's 2 of my individually favourite things, beer and oysters. They mix well.
So the Porter held its own against champagne.
But next up, it's a white fish dish that's a traditional partner for white wine.
Fillet of cod with a rich clam chowder and sautéed spinach.
Round 2.
This is a Bacchus from Kent. Obviously a place lots of hops come from there, but really good vineyards too. Bacchus is a crossing of 2 grape varieties, Sylvaner and Riesling. It's done in Germany, it's named after a Roman god, but it's an English wine. Again, top stuff. So you very much try this with the dish, I think.
And now it's time for the foodie group to try Alistair's main course beer selection.
This is the Meantime Bavarian-style wheat beer, and it's the acidic finish that cuts beautifully through fish. Fish such as the cod, the Cornish cod that we're trying today.
Well, the wine and the beer are certainly flowing, but which one will be on top with the cod?
Oh, it's actually really nice.
Napoleon referred to these styles of beers as the champagnes of the north, and not without reason.
Wine was really pleasant, but it was kind of like a familiar kind of pleasant. Like, oh, that's quite nice. Whereas this, I don't know, it's quite fun.
And now for the final round.
Now, with the English cheese board, which includes Stilton, I've gone with something which isn't an English wine, but it was actually invented by the Brits, and that's good old port. I think this is going to be tip-top. Watch out, Alistair. Pass the port.
Well, like the porter, Alistair's hoping that the pale ale's 130 years of military history will win the wine war.
This is India Pale Ale. It was brewed particularly alcoholic to make the journeys to India where it nourished the troops. Lovely, peppery, hoppy, slightly citric aromas complements the rich, well-matured characteristics of a farmhouse cheddar.
I definitely prefer the beer with the cheese. Port is very nice, but the beer complements the cheese much, much better, in my opinion.
I think the beer is the real surprise to me too, as a wine expert. You know, I wouldn't say normally. In fact, I'd never think of serving an India Pale Ale with cheese.
It all goes to the vote to see
I'm
which
gonna leave mine
wins.
to the end. So that was everyone else preferred the beer, so that's 3. And a clear winner. on
And the
beer.
winner by one
That's
crucial
cheese.
vote is beer.
Alistair's a happy man.
Fantastic.
Beer has proved more than a match for wine.
I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased that beer showed itself so well. It doesn't surprise me in the slightest because I'm a great believer in beer being a better accompaniment to food than wine.
But there's no turning a true wine critic.
Or is there?
I thought the port was very good with the Stilton, but I thought that the beer was fantastic, actually, and I voted for it. So it won by 1 vote, and it's down to me. So sorry, people in the wine industry. It's my fault.